Some photographs are shown at the beginning of the movie, and it is said that many years ago, a priest and his wife had come to an island as missionaries. They had come to this island to propagate Christianity and had a small daughter with them. At first, the natives did not understand their words, but gradually, as they got along, they started accepting them. Over time, the couple succeeded in building a church there, and everything was going well. However, one day, the natives felt that these people were trying to make them deny their religious beliefs, so they attacked the couple and burned the church. In one of the photos, the natives are shown wearing some scary masks. Cut to Toby, the hero of the movie. It is shown that he keeps looking at his mobile day and night. His father wants him to help repair the car, but Toby ignores him. His poor father is left repairing the car alone when suddenly, some people wearing masks approach him. They kill him with a knife and steal the car. Toby doesn't hear his father screaming because he is comfortably listening to music with earphones. However, when he hears the sound of the car leaving, he immediately comes out to check father's dead body outside. He becomes distraught. Toby is unable to forgive himself, feeling that if he had been with his father, he might have survived. He becomes very depressed, so his mother takes him to a psychiatrist who then suggests she has a friend who takes depressed people on relaxation trips. These trips require participants to spend 3 days on an island to overcome their fear. Toby feels reassured after hearing this and agrees to go. Toby, along with other depressed individuals, sets out for the island by boat. They all reach the island together, where everyone is excited. The person in charge of the trip, named Kay, explains that they will each be dropped off on different islands to survive alone for 3 days. They're provided with essentials like food and torches, and Kay instructs them to use flares in case of an emergency. The group is assured that help will arrive if needed. The next day, everyone is dropped off on their respective islands. Toby is the last one left and is reminded that he has 3 days to relax and clear his mind. At first, Toby feels scared but soon resolves to make it through the 3 days. He constructs a makeshift tent and goes into the forest to gather wood. He finds coconuts but becomes worried when he uncovers the dead body of a monkey. Wondering who could have killed it, Toby spots a monkey nearby, which he chases away. He attempts to light a fire but accidentally cuts his hand, throwing the lighter into the water in frustration. He soon realizes he needs it back and starts searching in the water. Suddenly, he cuts his leg on a sharp stone, causing severe bleeding. In the water, Toby finds a mask that becomes stained with his blood. Toby finds a seashell and discovers that his knife has a magnifying glass, which he uses to light a fire with the sunlight. He finally manages to light the fire and cook food, but he vomits after eating it. The injury on his leg causes him great pain, so he goes into the forest to look for food. As he reaches for coconuts, he senses someone behind him. He turns quickly but sees no one. Hearing a noise, he points his torch at the source and notices a figure behind a tree. Terrified, Toby runs back to his tent and lights a flare, but in his panic, he drops it. His heartbeat races, and he remembers his father, sinking further into depression and eventually passing out. The next morning, Toby wakes up to find that a coconut near him has been cut open. Surprised, he drinks the coconut water out of hunger. He spots a girl fishing and is shocked, wondering how she got there. As soon as she sees Toby, she starts to leave, but he follows her, asking who she is and how she got there. The girl, holding a knife, turns and stares at him, causing Toby to panic. She rushes toward Toby but changes direction and heads to a trap where an animal is caught. She takes the animal and starts to leave. Toby persists, asking her questions. She only says her name is Madeline. Madeline takes Toby to a place where the missionary couple had set up a makeshift shelter. She cooks the fish and shares it with Toby, who eagerly eats fresh food for the first time in hours. Madeline starts to leave, but Toby stops her, asking where she lives. He warns Toby to stay near the fire, as it keeps dangerous animals away. Madeline said she had come to this island with her parents during her childhood. After her father's death, she and her mother continued living there. By sharing these personal details, she teaches Toby how to fish and make weapons to help him survive. Toby also tells her about the internet and other things. When it's time for Madeline to leave, Toby says, "I want to come to your house. Can I come?" But Madeline refuses, saying, "If my mother sees you, she will kill you. Now go. I will come to meet you tomorrow." Toby tells her, "Tomorrow, the in charge of our trip will come to take me away from here. I don't know if I will ever be able to meet you again." Madeline becomes a little angry upon hearing this and says, "Why didn't you tell me this before?" She releases his hand angrily and runs into a large tree. That night, she comes to Toby's island, but he is not inside the tent. He is in the forest. She calls out to him and starts walking in that direction. Suddenly, she gets scared by strange noises. When she sees something, she is startled and falls down, dropping her torch, which rolls to the other side. As she searches for it, someone throws the torch back at her from behind. Thinking it might be Toby, she shouts. But then, two blue eyes appear in front of her. When Madeline picks up the torch, a scary hand suddenly touches her. She stops breathing, and her scream echoes in the darkness. The scene cuts to Toby the next morning as he waits for Madeline, but she doesn't come. He goes to the water in search of her and sees a lifeboat with an overturned boat nearby. Toby realizes that it is Kay's boat. A woman emerges, retrieves some items from the boat, and leaves. Toby dives underwater and searches the boat, finding two flares that have sunk. Suddenly, he spots a dead body. It is Kay's. Shocked and terrified, Toby tries to get away from the boat, but his shirt gets caught. Struggling for breath, he manages to free himself and reaches the shore. Toby now fears that Madeline's mother may have killed Kay. He goes into the forest and finds Kay's flashlight, scratched and lying on the ground. Toby ventures into the large tree where Madeline had disappeared. Inside, he discovers a massive cave filled with bat sounds. A shadowy figure appears behind Toby, but when he turns, it vanishes. Strange drawings cover the walls, and he moves past them, finding broken houses on the other side. Toby searches everywhere for Madeline. He sees a goat, but suddenly, an arrow strikes its neck. It is Madeline's mother. Toby quickly hides and spots a wooden hut nearby. He enters, hoping to find Madeline. Inside, he discovers a box containing passports and photos of Madeline and her parents. Madeline's father turns out to be the same missionary who had come to the island to spread Christianity. Toby also notices a gasoline cylinder. Suddenly, hearing footsteps, Toby hides under a plank. Madeline and her mother enter, and her mother hands Madeline some berries to grind. Madeline refuses to eat them, and her mother scolds her, warning, "Don't go out anywhere." From his hiding spot, Toby sees a mask and realizes that Madeline's mother had been using it to scare her. When her mother leaves, Madeline spots Toby. She scolds him, saying, "Why did you come here? If my mother sees you, she will not spare you. Go now. I will meet you tomorrow." Toby leaves and catches some fish to eat. Later, he sees someone signaling with a light in the distance. Believing it to be a rescue, he lights a fire to signal back. That night, as Toby tries to sleep, Madeline arrives. He is happy to see her, but he warns her, "Your mother killed our in charge. I'm not safe here. Someone will come to take me away soon." Madeline, with tears in her eyes, rests her head on his lap and says, "When I was little, I came here with my mother and father. My father was preaching Christianity, and I used to play happily with the native children. But one day, something happened. I found myself sitting in a corner, covered in blood. When my mother came, she was soaked in blood. It seems they had killed my father and the other natives. I was so scared. Even now, I live in fear with my mother." Toby reassures her, saying, "Don't worry. When the boat comes for me tomorrow, you should come with me." Madeline is happy to hear this and leaves, promising to meet him at the same spot the next morning. Toby sets his mind on escaping. He spots an old lighthouse and enters, discovering its engine is broken. Remembering how his father taught him to fix car engines, he attempts to repair it in the same way. However, he needs gasoline for the generator and recalls the cylinder he saw at Madeline's house. Returning to his tent, Toby encounters another boy, David, who had also come on the trip but was left on another island. David says, "I got scared when she didn't come yesterday, so I lit a fire to signal this island. After making a small wooden boat, he came here." He says, "Now, both of us will leave from here together." Toby responds, "A girl has been stuck here for many years. I will bring her, and we will leave together." Saying this, he goes to pick up Madeline, but Madeline's mother attacks him with a spear and asks, "Who are you? How did you come here?" Toby frees himself and runs away. Madeline's mother chases him but gets trapped in a snare, with a sharp piece of wood striking her head and severely injuring her. Toby says, "You killed the natives here, and your husband as well. Now die right here." Madeline's mother, in pain, reveals a shocking truth. "Son, I did not kill anyone. All those murders were committed by my daughter." Hearing this, Toby is stunned. A flashback reveals that Madeline's parents had come to the island to preach Christianity. However, in the church they built, the island's natives began worshipping the devil, sacrificing sheep, goats, and other animals. During one such ritual, when Madeline's family intervened, the natives asked them to leave. Madeline's father, a priest, refused and said, "This church is for worshipping God, not Satan." Amid their argument, Madeline went inside, and a demonic power entered her. From that day, she became a dangerous entity. She burned the church and killed the natives but spared her mother. For years, Madeline's mother kept her confined to the island to prevent the outside world from discovering this evil. After recounting the story, Madeline's mother hands Toby some berries, saying, "Grind these and give them to her to keep her calm. She hates light, so stay near light or fire to protect yourself and leave this island." With that, she dies. Toby realizes the danger he's been in, living with the devil for so long. David, hearing a noise, goes to investigate and finds a skeleton. Suddenly, Madeline, in her demonic form, attacks and kills him. When Toby returns, he sees David's blood and realizes Madeline must have killed him. He becomes distraught. Madeline appears, and upon seeing Toby, she calms down. In the light, her demonic form fades, and she looks normal. She picks up her mother's dead body and asks, "Who did this?" Toby replies, "I did it so she wouldn't stop you from coming with me." Madeline, overjoyed, kisses Toby. However, the berries that Madeline's mother gave Toby fall, and when Madeline sees them, she turns into her demonic form and attacks Toby. Toby fights back, grinding the berries and applying them to Madeline's mouth. He then heads to the lighthouse with the gasoline Ken he had brought earlier. He fixes the lighthouse engine, pours gasoline into it, and starts it up. Lights begin flashing everywhere. As Toby climbs down, a CD breaks, causing him to fall, and the gasoline spills. He notices berries growing nearby. Madeline attacks him, but Toby plucks the berries and tries to use them against her. However, Madeline squeezes berry juice into Toby's eyes, blinding him temporarily. The lighthouse's light shines on them, causing Madeline to back away. Taking the opportunity, Toby washes his eyes and mouth and picks up a shard of glass. When the light moves away, Madeline attacks in the dark, but Toby fights back with a glass shard and heads toward the door. Suddenly, he hears a little girl's voice and sees a child version of Madeline. When he approaches, she transforms into the demon and begins to strangle him. In the distance, Toby hears a boat approaching. The demon sits on Toby, attempting to possess him. The light from the boat reflects on Madeline's face, making her revert to normal. Toby takes the chance, runs outside, and sets the area on fire. Madeline screams for help, but Toby knows that saving her would mean his death. He closes the door, jumps into the water, and swims toward the boat. He then sees Madeline standing nearby in her demonic form. The ending shows that the boat has rescued someone. It turns out they rescued Madeline, not Toby, implying that Toby either remained on the island or was killed by Madeline. Now, Madeline is heading toward the city. What destruction she will bring remains unknown. With this, the movie ends. So that's it. Hope you enjoy the story. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more videos.